Sanibona emakhaya, igama lami Scelo Ngubane. I'm an inspirational speaker. Today we have a special guest. Please introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Sandi M, the speaker. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a facilitator and MC of note.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a sales consultant as well. I sell cars for a living.
Wow.
I speak actually for a living.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I wanted to ask you about Sandi M, the speaker. That
Sure.
when did you realize the power of speaking or the power of words in your life?
Ngubane, I've been speaking since grade 11. I think speaking has been my life. I got saved actually in grade 11 at a school called BC in
Okay.
Benoni. When I got saved, I think things changed for me. I remember in that school, there was no Bible study.
Okay.
I did not know much, but I literally opened a Bible study, an SEO. That's what we called it back then. No experience whatsoever. People were coming into the class every break, every Wednesday, 11 o'clock, and we started speaking the word of God.
Wow.
And I would say today, it was the grace of God. When God comes into your life, it shifts everything. Things change. So I don't have I didn't learn it. It was literally, I feel it was imparted by the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
So it was not something that, and then I think after a time, then you start getting knowledge, skills, and you start speaking at school, public speaking, you start doing MCing. And then I decided, also my surname is long, so Mulantwa.
Okay.
Yeah, so I decided to say, everyone went out, Sandi Mulantwa, Mulantua.
Oh,
So
yeah,
people
yeah,
pronounce it wrong. So I said, you know what, just to cut it short, let it be Sandi M.
Wow.
And because of speaking, I've been speaking. Everything, all my jobs actually have been to do with speaking.
Now, the intelligence and the wisdom also behind that to say, because I always know you as a very efficient person, that
Sure.
you always come up with innovation and all of that. What does it, because the mixture of intelligence and arts has always been something that we're not familiar with.
Sure.
And I just wanted to know, for you, how has the experience been?
It's been a beautiful experience, but also it has to do with the reading.
Yeah.
I think you're the one that has always said a good leader is a good reader.
Yes.
And it's all that you read, you explore. And also it doesn't mean that something that if you are not, what's the word? If you do not specialize in something, does not mean you must not explore it. So I've always been exploring everything. I've done drama, you would know. I've done arts. I went into a choir. I don't know how to sing.
I wanted to know.
No. I actually am, but I've once been in a choir. At
Is
school.
it?
Yeah, I've got a certificate at BEC. We have been participated in choir.
Yeah, participation, I know that.
Yeah.
One thing about you, you've always been actively participating as a young person also in the youth ministry.
Sure.
Yeah, the dedication, also the distance you walk. You didn't mind walking.
I didn't, Ngubane, I didn't. With Caesar and fitness.
Yeah.
But I remember I would walk every day. They'll have every program, and you made sure. Because remember, you're changing also a life. You want to have a different lifestyle.
Okay.
I remember I had to leave a lot of my friends because besiphuza sonke sidakwa sonke senza zonke lezi zinto lezi but we are moving down that direction. So in order for me to be preoccupied with something different, I had to make sure I go to church every day. So any program that was there esontweni, I was part of it from Monday literally to Sunday. And that's how I became also a youth leader there, to say, okay, this is where I dedicate and this is where I learn.
Powerful. Somebody said sometimes we look at where people are heading, we don't know what they're coming from.
Sure.
Because I never saw you drunk or pooza or all of that. So now that you're mentioning, I'm just thinking to myself that, so it makes sense. Because sometimes people are caught up in those things and they don't realize that their potential and their gifts and their talent sometimes is buried in those.
Ngubane, la imali yakho iyakhona, mina inhliziyo yakho ikhona.
Wow.
So where you find yourself spending time, nemali, we know. If you want to know to pay up, look at where you're spending your time. It's literally that. If people could focus, if you want to know your destiny, literally look at where you are now, look at the people around you, look at where you're spending most of your money, and you'll know your destiny.
Wow. And I also know you as a rebel. Earlier today, we were talking about challenging of our traditions and cultures, that you are not married to customs and traditions and all of that. That's why I'm using the word rebel.
Sure.
Because you don't really feel threatened by being controversial. It's been the gaga. Where do you get it?
Ngubane, the truth is, I don't believe in 6 steps of success.
Okay.
Because how you become successful is not how I'm going to become successful. Everyone is given the grace to move and operate in a special anointing.
Wow.
So if I want to take what God has anointed me and try to now put it in you, there's going to be a problem because you are not given the same strength, you're not given the same humility even. Hence, that's why they become successful so quick with all these schemes because they got there so quick, they don't even know how to use the money. You know what I mean? So I'm not a person that follows rules, Gakulu. I believe in spontaneous acts of grace.
Okay.
Unplanned but perfect.
Okay.
Still orchestrated within grace. See, also people think that we say grace as a rebel kind of thing. It's actually not. It's on its own, it's structured. It still says, I do not depend on myself. I depend entirely on God.
Okay.
Everything is orchestrated beforehand. Therefore, I trust that I do not need to rely on my hands. The Bible talks about how even before Jesus Christ in the Old Testament, he says, the works of your hands are blessed. But he says, remember, it is I, the Lord, that maketh you rich. So everything, okay, yeah, in every hard work there's profit. But who gives you the ability to do the hard work?
It's God.
It's God. So grace is only saying to us that most of the things you do not deserve, they're orchestrated by God. And if you operate in that grace, you flow spontaneously.
So within your tasks or within your gifts and talents that you are working on, which one do you think that you can say this one defines you very well?
Sure. That's a hard one.
Okay.
I think I'm defined by, I'd want to say humility, but also in terms of gift, speaking. I love speaking. But it's also not just speaking for the sake of speaking. I love adding value to people's lives.
Yeah, because my question was the impact of speaking. That what is it that you want to see after speaking?
One thing that I realized from school, and I was good at maths, right?
Okay.
And I was
maths lit or pure maths?
Pure maths.
Okay. I want to say, a paragraph.
No. Pure maths.
Pure maths.
And the reason I was so good at it was because I taught other students.
I'm told, Guti, our student mates are cheating us because once which I understand, that's how they learn actually, by teaching you.
Exactly. So what does that say? Even in my speaking career, I always learn by teaching, by speaking.
Yeah.
So the more I speak to, some revelations come when I'm there, right? Then, and you learn, you're like, hey, this actually was not even meant for you. It was meant for me. Because when I reflect and I start, okay, so this actually was for me. I learn the more I speak, but also, when I see change coming from people's life through what I've said, that it fulfills me. It impacts me on its own to say, I spoke something. And especially Abantwana Mabeza, we used to go to schools. You get grade 11 learners, 12. They come back, but we have visit, and they say, if you did not come when you came and spoke to my class and say to me, it's time for you to change your life. It's time for you to realize you know you can change where you're going. You know what I mean? And I say, thank you for that. And those are such things that makes us, you know what? This is my life. We're always going to speak and we're always going to try to challenge people with, hey, daughter, ungazami part of the crowd. Try to change things because when again, our final was next door. Again, they depended more on you. So you can't want to then relax and, So we've always had that thing. But also the background as well.
Yes,
we come from a poor background. Literally, ekhaya besi more than 15. Mangithi more than 15, umamami, ugogo wami, ukhokho wami, nabo sisi bakamama, abo auntie nana. That's where we grew up and that's what we've known. And you realize, if I had to tell you stories mama, my mom literally had to not take a bazari because with us sebenze pick and pay so you can feed our family. So those things, you don't want to see them go banyabantu. You know what I mean? You just think, while you're still young, you can change your life. You can, you can literally change your life. You remember?
So the entire, okay, you can continue.
Yeah. No, I want to say, remember, Pastor Steve would just say, when you have God and education, those two things can take you somewhere.
So the entire 15 community, some of your, I would say, wisdom that you gained without even having to observe somewhere that this thing, exactly what is it that you'll do. So Umama once, she decided that, let me sacrifice so that my family can be fed. You realize, some of the decisions we make are lifelong and life-changing.
Some of the decisions, hence that's why you can't make a permanent decision based on a temporary situation.
Say that again.
You cannot make a permanent decision based on a temporary situation.
Okay. So
you must know the difference of something when it's temporary and something when it's permanent. If I make this decision now because of this situation, won't it affect me permanently? Because of such decision. Because of a small temporary situation, and you decide, as in fuck, sorry for the language, sorry for the language, but you decide, no, I'm your roofer on your insan.
Yeah.
But you don't realize it's only temporary. If you can just put in the hard work, sacrifice certain time, instead of to have your groover, you know what I mean? Just prioritize your time, and you'll see your permanent situation will change.
So the circle, how important is it? Because you are speaking, and I know that the word here, once you put T, it becomes heart. That what you hear goes to the heart.
Sure.
So you always want to speak to the heart. And most of the time, people have so many questions in their heart. And as a speaker, isn't that you look at and say, our society needs to be aware of dream stealers, things that take away our purpose. You just spoken about some of them, but can you speak more on that? What is it that makes people not to fulfill their purpose in this earth?
Comparison.
Okay.
Society has a problem with comparing. And I think it affects a lot of youth specifically. You want to compare yourself. I remember when we always said, and I think you always liked this quote, and I used it as well. Everywhere I go, say there's 3 kinds of people. Small, average, and great.
Okay.
But we'd always say average is an enemy of being great. And why we'd say that? Because being average, from a school if I one fail. So you always want to say, at least I'm one.
That's an average thinking.
It's an average thinking. You say, at least I'm 100, I'm full fail. At least it's my name is 30. Na at least it's my name, you know what I mean? The society says, next door, hey, at least I'm one. And that's the problem with our society. We always want to compare ourselves, but we don't realize that our destiny is not the same. So because you, again, they invested more Guwe than was next door. And you remember, we always say, Nasa next door, tavern. What about you?
Next.
You know, so I think it's important. Attitude as well has an impact.
Okay.
You cannot have a negative attitude, regardless of what comes into your life.
Okay.
I think one thing when I always reflect in my life, everything that has always kept me going was I always had a positive attitude about everything. But even in the midst of bad things, the struggle, I never portray my struggles. I'd be going through the worst in my life.
And don't look like it.
Yes. Because I know my destiny is not my current situation.
This is temporary.
This is temporary. So you never think what you're going through is where you're going to end. That you are going through. The Bible talks about even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Yes, sir.
The purpose or the word, I'm walking through the valley. You're not sitting. It's a walk.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know, shy walk para definitely don't look like your situation because I'll pay lab. So it's a mindset and the attitude that will shift the paradigm. And then obviously Nabantu, look at the people that you're around. City society, we're talking about friends. Sometimes you're gonna even have to stay away from your family because they're always speaking negative.
So you how do you select or hear that this is negative and I need to, take myself out of it?
Does this add to what you want to do?
Okay.
Does this add value to your dream? Does it build? Uyayizwa into. Kunabantu abanegative, umuntu uhlala complain. Hayi government, hayi economy, hayi petrol. So okay, we are in the same boat. Why are you talking about something that we know?
I always have this thing, even when I greet people, that as soon as you are negative, I can even hear from your greeting. Unjani? Nembuzi.
Isn't that depressing?
Yes. So you are greeting me, Nembuzi. You can't say you are great. You can't say I'm feeling fantastic.
Ngubane, the power of words. Words always manifest.
Wow.
Esawubona mfethu njani? Hayi ngirad mfethu ngivukile. Mara una nix is coming. But you understand, you're not going to speak what you are in.
Yeah.
It's not what you are, it's what you're in.
You are in, yeah.
Remember what you do does not define who you are. You are a human being, not a human doing.
All right.
Yeah. You are a human being. See, I think also that's the problem. We do a lot of things, wanting a lot of result.
Okay.
But we forgot to just be us.
Just be.
Just be you. You've got already, God has invested everything in you. You've got the gift and the talents. Hence, I'm telling you, I did not learn speaking anywhere else. I did not. Who said I must open a Bible school? But people came. And it was not the perfect Bible school because I was a player before.
Okay.
It wasn't as perfect as it should be.
When you're saying player, you mean basketball?
Basketball player. Basketball player.
Yeah.
So, but it's progression. The verse that I love the most, that actually I'm living by, Solomon says, Hey man, I've traveled far and through. I came back. Ngazula, ngahamba, ngaya yonke indawo. You know one thing I've realized under the sun? Time and chance is given to everyone.
Wow.
It says, I've seen the poor, I've seen the rich. Common. I realized, no man. Time and chance is given to them all. So your time and chance will definitely come.
Wow. I love that. You know why I love that? Is because my definition of success is when an opportunity meets a prepared mind.
Hey.
For me, that's a clap to say, now this is it. Because you'll never be ready for, you'll never create an opportunity, but you can prepare a prepared mind.
Exactly.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. What are you investing in now?
Wow.
Are you investing in yourself? Are you reading? There's an online training. There's a lot of things that you can do, that you can invest, so that when the opportunity strikes, you don't look unprepared, because you knew what you meant for greater things.
Wow.
So dress the way you want to be addressed. Always be there. I always say an opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it means to every opportunity comes sometimes, and it has a lifespan and a lifetime, but it has always been waiting for you. So when it comes,
seize it.
Be ready to seize it.
Wow.
You know?
So in terms of what you are working on currently as a speaker, what are your projects? What is it that you're working on?
I have a book in my shelves, Ngubane. I've actually completed the book, but being a speaker and also a creative, you always want to perfect it more. You know what I mean? And also, I think what you just said is so powerful, because I'm waiting for the right time, for the opportunity, and for the opportunity to come. And I think I'll know it in my heart when it's the right time for this book to launch it. Launch it, you know what I mean? But it's actually there in my laptop. It's a motivational book. It's literally it's straightforward.
Okay.
It doesn't have a lot of things. It's straightforward, literally to address. I've named it "Fixing Me." Yeah.
And who's the target?
The target is everyone.
Okay.
Who wants to fix themselves.
All right.
Because we always try to fix things, but we never fix ourselves. We always focused in emotionally. Okay. But sometimes we emotionally now because you yourself are not. You know what I mean? We always want to try to help other people, but you cannot help yourself. So it's a
self-help toolbox.
Basically.
Wow.
It's like a toolbox, basically, where you are able to go connect and you are reflect. But not even, I don't like the word self-help, but nonetheless, to push it further, it's going to break you and try to make you.
Okay.
Because it speaks to your reality. To say, sometimes you think Nkinga is everywhere else, and you are the problem. It addresses you as an individual as well. So saying, maybe it's your attitude.
So it's going to give you also introspection time.
Exactly. Actually, it's more introspection than the 20% is the solution. Because once you sort it, everything else becomes in line. You know what I mean? It literally addresses you, self-introspection, and speaks to say, oh wow. And out of that, you'll see, because once you are fixed internally, your external will manifest to be better.
Wow.
Inside, outside. It's an inside job.
No, it's a very powerful one. Please do launch it. Let your heart confirm it. I can't wait to read it. Because one thing also is that we're living in times where people don't spend enough time with themselves. We saw results of COVID when people had to be grounded, that move or mind. So people are used to distraction that keep up, because they can't really be with themselves and sit with themselves and speak with themselves. We spend 9 months in the womb, but after that we want to be everywhere.
You remember this book, Introduction Akona, is a song that you love.
Okay.
It says, I've been to Georgia, I've been to California, but I've never been to me.
The Blue Notes.
Wow. So I've been everywhere, but I've never been to me. I've been to Georgia, I've been to California, I've met, I've changed women, I've done everything else, but I've never been to me.
Because most of the time, that's why maybe people are defensive when they get a feedback about them to say, because they don't know the value or the devalue that they get from the people. So how important is it to get a feedback?
No, it's very important. In fact, we live out of feedback. Remember, especially we as speakers, the fact that we're always taking a podium and we're using the mic and we're speaking, we get criticized a lot.
Yeah.
And that's where we learn. And you feel it now to say, people give you feedback because you see the body posture. So because sometimes you're at a wedding, people are drunk, and so...
And some, when they're drunk, they're honest.
They're honest, exactly. And so we live out of feedback from people. So as an individual, it's important to take feedback.
Wow.
Umuntu might think he's criticizing you, but take that criticism and use it towards your advantage. You know what I mean? Feedback is very important. You need to listen to people. No, listen to people. Take feedback. It's there to strengthen you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
your entrepreneurship has always been focusing on developing entrepreneurs and looking at opportunities that is presented in our current time. What could you say are challenges that are faced by entrepreneurs today, and what can they do so that they can elevate towards facing the challenges?
I'd say it's attitude, Ngubane.
Okay.
I wanted to say lack of funds, but I remember to say funds come to people that are driven. Abantu abaqala into bangameli imali.
Okay.
Because bangakho abantu bazenzela ubumnandi elokishini. People bayagroove abantu. Bazenzela ubumnandi, they literally have fun. Anganamali umuntu ahamba phethe 100 rand and out of 100 rand and he enjoys everything. Yalapho for that night, for that Saturday, for that Sunday. So what is it stopping entrepreneurs to do what they do? I feel it's also an attitude. And more than the attitude, I'm also involving ukusebenzisana.
Okay.
Because people have pride, so they think they don't need each other. You sometimes get to environments where people are arrogant ngento angana nix. Because we are not united. Entrepreneurs need to unite. Most places, supply chain is very important, especially for entrepreneurs. But we miss it in entrepreneurs. We don't believe in supply chain. We don't believe in when branding. Supply like transport. There's no sense of what's the word? It's cohesion. There's no sense of also synchronizing where we move at a certain pace. And we understand, okay, this is the end goal. The end goal is only a shop. All right. So uba on a factory. No one wants to be at the back end. We all want to be in the forefront to get the profit. But how do you get the profit if you do not marginalize go factory where it's manufacturing?
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I think we all avoid to be deep. We want to be in the forefront. Wonke umuntu uthengisa igiba. Wonke umuntu sakana label yakhe. Nami sengino M. Sengifuna ukumthengisa uSandi M. Why? Why don't I literally spend time and make igiba? It's just for everyone that has a brand to come and buy from you. Then they brand it and they sell. Why can't I be no mundo literally who works in transportation? We've got a logistic company, literally ekasi, that does everything that has to do with logistics. We know we've got Amatrak, we've got Ngubane transportation that delivers from point A to Amakula Shangalog. Oh, my friend, Shangalog.
You know, I always hear people saying, hey, we must take back the tech shops and with the attitude we had. Because now, sazala kukhona vela abantu ama-shop emakasi.
Yes.
Mawuzothenga uthola umama own ishop or kuleyo family la kune-store khona. Babukela the bold. Umemeza ngizothenga and they're not coming. Look at the Somalians. I'm saying if we want to take back the tech shops, let's also master our attitude. Let's have Somalians vibe.
Exactly.
Akazi simemeze da. Utuzothenga say la ikubhekile ilindimali and all of it. And that attitude for me says I'm here to do exactly this.
These people balala ema-shop wabo. Balala ema-shop noma sa-companies abanye balala khona lapho kulama container. Kube kuncane because they understand. I think we're not so hungry. We're not hungry enough.
Wow.
We're not hungry enough.
You know what I fear? I know we have to motivate people, but my fear is these problems that are coming where we're going to have our generation working kulama containers because barenka khona man.
They've started Ngubane.
Ngubane,
we've got kanti my friend makashada usisi wakho kugcina angathengisi lapha.
Thengisa da. My friend akekho isikhathi leso
uSamuel.
Hey madod, already bayoshaya ama conference.
If we're not careful, that's where we're going. Because I need to attend my friend. Go shop. But we need to change that attitude. If we want to have a shift of paradigm, we need to have an attitude. Urgently so. Because you're right. Now we're gonna move to sevens about my friend.
True.
We need to have an attitude of saying, I'll do whatever it takes. We'll do whatever it takes so I can be better and also bring my friends. How does I work with cars. I get clients. Abo mama badala that sacrifices. Guno mama literally he had to sell imoto yakhe, athenge imoto cheaper, cash, ukuthi azothatha le mali le, akuzoyenza change, settle amount school fees for umntwana. We need that generation. Abo mama badala umuntu omdala that understands the value of education for umntwana wakhe. Umntwana kusevazi 3rd year. So umama sacrifice for umntwana 3rd year. So umntwana lo must understand the sacrifices. We need that generation that will also stand up and understand the importance of education. Formal and informal. Education is anything that informs you. So we want that. We've got a library. But I want a library. Library only if ever usafunda esikolweni. You don't have a umuntu at library. I just want to research about something. Politics, stuff, anything. People that just to research. So we need that attitude change. So it will also come. The customer service it's because you are studying. The more you study, the more you become eloquent, and everything that you do becomes effective. You know? So
the entrepreneurship is the future, because I look at the unemployment in this country and I'm saying, but there's I think I will say gray area. I know what's gray listed, but there's a gray area that we're not addressing, that the more we have more entrepreneurs, the more we can also fight unemployment. Because if Sandi M can employ 10 people, already we have 10 people that are no longer part of the list of unemployed people. I think as a country, we have now to also protect South Africa, because I see us more people. I don't love this country. You know, we one country that we get attacked even from the inside, because there is no cohesion and solidarity that we are working on. I agree with also Vustenjewai when he says the terminology of small business or small enterprise. I disagree. Oh, Tembagwai.
Yeah, when it's Tembagwai.
Oh, yeah, Tembagwai. Yes. Sorry about that. So, if we can term it correctly, we will also be able to have it implemented correctly. Because what do you mean my business is small? Are you saying I'm small in terms of quantity that I order, or I'm small in terms of the money that I make, but they're small in terms of the labeling? I think it's what also affects the thinking behind the problem that we're supposed to solve. Because Uguti, you are starting doesn't make you small. You know, we have a bigger vision. I think we need to have conferences where entrepreneurs can sit in the same room, you know, and start sharing the ideas, because the supply chain that they have conferences where they go and plan. You know, planning is very important in the entrepreneurship space. So I think I agree with you that we do need to really break these walls.
Create our own space. I think regardless of what the government has stated about SMMEs and stuff, create an environment that's conducive for us as entrepreneurs. Once you create it, remember, everything works about demand and supply. So the more we spanning, and there's a lot of us that are entrepreneur, and we've got certain rules and systems in place that are working for us and are producing, we are able to confront such systems. I think we've noticed there's a lot of things that have put us at disadvantage from way back. But how do we then counteract that? We mobilize. We create a society that has the same thinking, the same thought. And we're saying, what are you doing? What business are you in? What business? How do we interlink our business so that they become strong? Then and then also, see, I think also because the bottom line is money. How much money do you have? Will determine how much say you have.
Wow. You're never afraid of numbers. I think that's why you're so good also with sales. And I want to ask, what is the principle of sales?
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. See, but also sales has a process. Input, output. What you put in is what you get out. That's we've got a sales process that we talk about from how to start with the client, prospect. But I think the bottom line, if I have to determine the structure from prospect, like Kalakona, to outside, where you follow up, is all about attitude. It goes up to the sense of, if you want it enough, you'll get it. There's no form of excuse. Toyota, in fact, from 2013, I've been selling cars, from VW, Toyota. One thing that always said, you make your own money. You determine, I want to get 100,000 month end. How do I do it? How many customers must I sell to? How many customers must I speak to? How many customers must I contact? So a day, I know, okay, I need to speak to at least 30 customers. If I speak to 30 customers, I know at least 10 of them will give me applications. Out of this 10 that gives me application, at least 2 of them will approve. Out of the 2 that approves, at least 1 of them will buy. So a day, I had 1 customer. But I need to be consistent. 30 customers a day will give me 600 customers a week.
And how do you deal with the no?
What you mean? That's no.
Okay.
No. A no is next time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no. I still have your contact. I will call you. And I'll save you on WhatsApp. And I'll ask you to save my number. You'll see me when I post my deliveries.
Good guys,
I'm always in your mind.
Wow.
You need to use perspective and attitude. You never take a no. No. You respect a no, but you don't take it.
Wow.
Respect it. It's okay. It's a no for now, not forever.
Wow.
So I think ultimately people need to have a positive attitude. Always think positive. Things may happen, but time and chance is given to everyone.
You know, I wanted you to say the last words of motivation and inspiration, anything in your heart as we close, so that anybody who's sitting there at home and thinking, I think I no longer want to do anything. What can you say to them to motivate them to come back to the game?
These are the words that you like, and I think I'm going to use them.
Yeah.
And I don't know when you've used them, but it's a principles game. What goes up must come down. What goes around comes around. What you give to life, life will give back to you.
Wow.
So as an individual, vuga, give positive vibes. Vuga, show us what you want in life. So be serious about your life. It's not over. It cannot be over. The fact that you sapefumula, as long as sapefumula.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Sandi M, the speaker.
I'm Sandi M, the speaker.
Wow.
And I speak for a living.
Yeah.
Sure.
Emakhaya, I hope we are inspired. I hope we are revived. Uma ngabe isikhathi besingasibheki emaphepheni kusho njalo ngesixhosa besozibhala kuze kushona ilanga. Thank you very much for having us, and may God bless you. May God be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir.